The Zervok armada moved like a storm through the stars. They did not talk. They did not answer messages. They only destroyed. One planet after another fell. Cities turned to ash. Ships were torn apart in space. The Zervok ships were black and cold. They looked like shadows with glowing red eyes. No one could stop them. The Talari tried. They lasted 5 days. The Vuron sent 20 cruisers. They were gone in 6 hours. No warning, no mercy. Only death. Far from the chaos in a quiet part of space. A small human scout ship floated alone. Its name was Falcon. Captain Lavra Banks sat in her chair, watching the screen in front of her. She was calm, but her hands were tight around the arms of her seat. The screen showed the latest data. 3 more colonies destroyed. A 4th stopped sending signals. "This can't be real," whispered Ensign Kyle, sitting beside her. "It is real," Lavra said softly. "And we might be next." Kyle replied. Lavra nodded. She had seen the Zervok before, during the fall of Hesperia Station. That station had been full of families. Now it was just floating dust. "Send." "The alert to Earth," Lavra said. "Already done," said Kyle. "Good," she said. They were not a warship. Falcon had no weapons. Just scanners and a small jump drive. They were scouts, watchers, not fighters. But someone had to see. Someone had to warn the others. Lavra stared at the screen again. Something moved. A dark shape, long and wide. Cold red lights on its surface. Zervok. "Cruiser," Kyle said, voice shaking. "How did it get this close?" Lavra asked. "It followed the signal. Or maybe it just got lucky," he said. Lavra didn't waste time. "Jump us out anywhere now," she ordered. The Falcon's engines whined. The ship shuddered. The stars outside twisted. Then silence. They had jumped. "Where are we?" Lavra asked. "Unknown system, uncharted. But we're safe for now," Kyle said. Lavra closed her eyes for a second. She had seen many things in space. But the Zervok made her feel something new, cold fear. She opened a message log, recorded her voice. "This is Captain Lavra Banks of the scout ship Falcon. The Zervok are moving faster than expected. They destroyed Jira Station and Colony Red 9. I believe Earth will be within range in weeks. This is not a drill. We need a response fast." She sent it on Earth. Deep under the ice of Neptune's moon Triton, a signal was received. A base hidden from every sensor lit up. Men and women in uniform began to move. The message went to Admiral Trent, leader of Earth Defense Command. He listened, face like stone. He tapped his desk. "Get me Captain Ethan Drake," he said, "across the solar system, on a space station in orbit around Saturn." A man stood on a training field. His name was Captain Ethan Drake. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a quiet voice and cold eyes. He had seen 3 wars, lost many friends. He did not smile often. When the call came, he listened without a word. Then he spoke only 2 words. "I'm ready," he said. Back on Triton, a hangar opened. Steam rose. Metal creaked. A ship stood waiting. It was not just any ship. It was the Horizon's Wrath. Built in secret. Faster than anything Earth had made before. Stronger, smarter. Designed for one purpose, defend Earth at all costs. Its hull was dark. Silver, its cannons long and sharp. It had a new kind of shield. And a crew trained for deep space war. Captain Drake stepped on board. The crew saluted. He nodded. "No speeches. We all know what we're here for. Let's stop them before they reach home," he said. The engines came alive. The ship left the dock. Far behind them, Earth was safe for now. But ahead, in the dark stars, the Zervok moved like a wave, and now someone was going to push back. The Falcon floated near a dying star. Lavra watched the jump data. She saw a new signal, fast, powerful, heading right toward the Zervok's path. "Who is that?" Kyle asked. Lavra smiled for the first time in days. "That," she said, "is Hope." The Horizon's Wrath moved through the dark like a silent predator. Its engines were quiet. Its weapons were armed. Every system on the ship had been tested again. And again, this was humanity's most advanced warship. And it had only one mission stop. The Zervok, Captain Ethan Drake, stood on the command deck, staring at the large screen in front of him. The crew was silent, each person focused, each one chosen for this mission because they didn't know how to quit. Status? Drake asked. Slipspace jump in progress. We'll reach the galley's edge in 4 minutes, said Lieutenant Maya Collins. Enemy fleet still heading toward the border. No sign they've changed course, said Tactical Officer Ryan Dale. Drake nodded. They think we'll wait. They think we'll run. Let's make them think again, he said. In the engine room, Chief Frank Dalton checked the core readings. He had been working ships for 20 years, but this one was different. It was alive, not in body, but in purpose. It had one job, and he was going to make sure it did that job perfectly. Power flow is steady, shields at 100%. Weapon banks charged, he reported, on the bridge. The countdown finished. The stars outside twisted, then snapped back into place. They had arrived. Visuals on screen, Collins said. Before them floated the galley's edge. A system full of gas giants, ice rings, and a single small planet. The Zervok fleet was there. Huge, cold, cruel. Drake looked at them and didn't blink. Lock targets, fire. At will, he said. The Horizon's Wrath fired. Beams of light streaked through space. Missiles followed, guided by smart AI. They struck fast and hard. One Zervok destroyer lit up, broke apart, and vanished. The aliens didn't react at first. Then they turned and fired back. The Zervok weapons were strong, but the human ship was faster. Its shields held, its guns answered. Every blast, the crew moved like one body. No yelling, no panic, only calm focus. Ryan called out. Enemy cruiser approaching from below, preparing flak spread. Adjust shields. Fire back, let them feel it, Drake said. The Wrath danced through space, not like a machine, but like a hunter. One Zervok frigate got too close. Dalton rerouted power. Collins launched a rail strike straight through its core. The enemy ship folded in on itself and vanished in a cloud of dust. That's 2 down, more coming, Ryan said. Drake smiled slightly. Good, let them come. They'll learn the same lesson. We're not the ones running. Not this time, he said. Inside the Zervok flagship, the Mind Lord Zavrek watched in silence. He did not understand this human ship. It was alone, outnumbered. Yet it did not fall. How can this be? Zavrek asked. No one answered. He turned to his commanders. End it. Now burn them from the stars, he ordered. Back on the Wrath, more Zervok ships moved in. A heavy cruiser launched a swarm of plasma mines. Drake saw them coming. Evade right. Use the asteroid debris as cover, he ordered. The ship dipped and turned. The plasma mines chased it, but then the Wrath did something unexpected. It dropped a flare that tricked the enemy sensors. The mines followed the flare straight into the asteroid field and exploded. Nice work. That bought us time, Collins said. It also told them we're smarter than they thought. Now they'll get nervous, Drake said. Or angry, Ryan added. Drake gave a small laugh. Good, angry enemies make mistakes. And we don't, he said. For hours the battle went on. But the Horizon's Wrath didn't break. It dodged. It struck. It outthought and outfought everything thrown at it. When the smoke finally cleared, 4 Zervok ships were gone, 3 others heavily damaged. And the rest were falling back. They're retreating, Collins said. We pushed them out of the galley's edge. Ryan added. Drake nodded. Message Earth. Tell them. We've made contact, and we're still standing, he said. Deep below Neptune's ice. Admiral Trent read the report. He leaned back in his chair. 1 ship, 1 crew. And they held the line. Send reinforcements. We're not done yet, he said, back on the Falcon. Lavra watched the news from her corner of space. She smiled. I told you hope is real, she whispered. The Zervok had never lost a battle before. But now, they had met a warship with a human soul, and that changed everything. The Zervok fleet did not rest after the loss at Galley's Edge. They regrouped fast, stronger, angrier. They brought in more cruisers, new destroyers. and strange war beasts that floated in the void like giant armored eels. But Captain Ethan Drake was not running. He ordered the Horizon's Wrath forward, deeper into enemy space. His plan was simple: keep the Zervok off balance, hit them before they could strike Earth again. Lieutenant Maya Collins studied the new Zervok fleet from the war table. There's a formation near the Argon Drift. Looks like a staging point. Heavy escorts, but if we cut through fast, we could break it apart, she said. Drake nodded. We hit hard, then vanish like ghosts. Let's show them what human pressure feels like, he replied. Frank Dalton worked quickly in the lower decks. He modified the pulse cannons to fire short bursts that wouldn't trigger enemy sensors. Surprise shots, punch and vanish, he said. To the tech team, the ship moved low through the icy belt of Argon. It used the thick dust clouds for cover. The crew was silent, breath held, fingers ready. The Zervok fleet floated ahead. Giant, still waiting, Drake gave the signal. The Wrath rose from the dust like a shadow with teeth. Cannons fired. 3 Zervok patrol ships exploded before alarms could ring. The enemy reacted fast, too fast. It was a trap. Incoming from the rear. They were waiting for us. Ryan shouted, evasive action. Deploy drones, hit and spin, Drake barked. The Wrath twisted through space like it was alive. Enemy beams sliced past its hull. One hit. A deep shudder rocked the ship. Minor damage to starboard shields. We're holding, Collins said. Return fire. Focus on their command ship, Drake said. Dalton activated the pulse burst. 3 cannons lit up with silent blue flames. The Zervok command ship took a full blast to its bridge section. Its lights flickered. Then it turned away, retreating. Cowards. They can't handle damage like we can. Ryan said. Drake watched closely, but he wasn't smiling. They're adapting. That ambush was planned. We can't get overconfident. They'll try again, harder, smarter, he said. But something else caught his attention. That small vessel, it's drifting. Zervok markings, but it's out of formation, Collins said. Get a tractor beam on it. Bring it in. Let's see what they're hiding, Drake ordered. Inside the captured vessel was a surprise. A Zervok pilot alive, barely, and something more. A data crystal. Dr. Lena Brooks, the ship's xenolinguist, worked quickly. She decoded parts of the file. It showed schematics, Zervok fleet routes, and one terrifying note: Earth was the main target. This wasn't about expansion, it's an extermination plan. Lena said. Drake clenched his fists. Then we hit them harder. We don't wait for them to knock. We take the fight right to their gate, he said, hours later. The Horizon's Wrath slipped into deep space again. Their next stop a sector known as the Shadow Rift. It was a narrow region of twisted gravity and old wrecks. A dangerous place, but the Zervok used it as a shortcut between systems. Perfect place for another ambush, Dalton said. Or a perfect place to make them bleed, Collins added. Drake nodded. Either way. We're not turning back. Let's light the dark, he said. As they entered the rift, the ship's lights dimmed. Energy waves distorted sensors. The wreckage of ancient battles floated all around them. Then, Zervok ships appeared, this time, 10 of them, forming a wall. They're learning. They want to box us in, Ryan said. Too late for that. Weapons hot. Target lead ship, Drake said. The Wrath charged. Cannons roared. Drones fired MP blasts. Enemy shields flickered. One Zervok ship spun and exploded. Then another. But the human ship wasn't untouched. A plasma beam ripped across its flank. Hull breach on deck 5, auto seal active. No crew lost. Collins said quickly. Return fire, let's finish this, Drake said. They fought like they trained. As one, calm, precise, ruthless within 20 minutes. The Zervok formation broke. 3 ships ran. 2 were vaporized before they could jump. That's a clear message, Dalton said. Drake nodded. The message is this. We're not afraid, and we don't fall easy. Let them try again. We'll be waiting, he said. The Zervok had made first contact, but it was humans who drew first blood. Shadow Rift was silent once more. Wreckage floated in the dark. Flames flickered inside broken Zervok hulls. The horizon's wrath moved through the smoke slowly. Its hull was scarred, but its spirit was untouched. Captain Ethan Drake stood beside the war table, studying the new data from the captured Zervok craft. It showed something strange, an upcoming formation of Zervok cruisers gathering near the Lika Rift. But not just gathering, they were building something. Lieutenant Collins zoomed in. That looks like an energy net, a trap, something to stop a fleet or catch one ship, our ship, she said. They've learned our patterns, they're luring us, said Ryan Dale. Then let's surprise them back. We make them believe the trap will work, and then we flip it on them, Drake replied. Engineer Frank Dalton entered the bridge with a fresh report. I can modify our grav field emitters, turn the surrounding debris into projectiles. It'll cost us some shielding, but we can turn the rift into a weapon. They'll think they've trapped us, but we'll bury them in their own net, he said. How long will that take? Drake asked. 6 hours, maybe 5 if I skip sleep, Dalton replied. Then skip sleep, we move soon, Drake ordered. The ship entered the Lika Rift with silence. It was a region of bent space and dead light. Comms barely worked, sensors were limited. But human instinct stayed sharp. They saw the Zervok cruisers waiting. 12 of them, forming a crescent, a net of energy slowly powering up. They don't see us yet. We're in the blind zone, Collins whispered. Begin the drift, full silent mode. Power only to weapons and nav, Drake ordered. The ship floated. Slowly, hidden among shattered moons and old battle junk. Then it struck. Dalton flipped the gravity net. The debris launched outward in every direction. Thousands of metal shards, broken asteroids, and twisted wreckage flew like bullets into the Zervok trap. The enemy cruisers began to spin. Their shields were strong, but not strong enough to block. A storm of jagged metal, 2 down 5 damaged. Their net is failing. Ryan shouted, fire torpedoes, target engines, let's break their spine. Drake ordered. Torpedoes streaked into the fray. 3 more Zervok ships exploded. The others scattered, their formation broken. Their trap useless. Then one Zervok vessel broke ranks and tried to escape. They're running. Collins said, we can't let that ship reach their command fleet. Take it out, Drake said. But before they could fire, a smaller Zervok scout zipped in front of the escapee. It blocked the path. It turned back toward the Wrath. That's strange. Why would one of them stop their own? Ryan asked. Drake narrowed his eyes. It's not stopping, it's coming to us, he said. The scout ship opened a comm channel. The screen filled with static, then cleared. A face appeared. Zervok. But different, younger, eyes wide, not angry. Scared. Help, the creature said. Not all Zervok follow Zavrek. Some of us want peace. We didn't agree to the slaughter. We were born after the war began. We've only seen fear. We want it to stop, it said. The bridge went silent. Drake looked at his crew. No one spoke. Why now? Why tell us this? Drake asked. Because the Mind Lord knows he's losing. He planned something terrible. He's building a core device on the edge of the Veil Nebula. It will burn everything in 100 systems, including your Earth. We tried to warn you, but they silenced us. Now I'm the last one left, the Zervok said. Drake leaned forward. Transmit the location. Now, and if you're lying, we'll find out, he said. The scout ship sent coordinates. The signal was clear, and it pointed to a place far beyond the current front line. We've been fighting battles, but the real war is just starting, Collins said quietly. Then we get ready. We take this data, we confirm it, and we move fast, Drake said. The Zervok scout was allowed to dock. Watched closely, it held no weapons, only warnings. As the crew processed the new intel, Drake stood alone in his quarters. He looked at a photo of Earth, the blue marble floating in black. Not today, not ever. You'll never touch home. Not while we're out here, he said to himself. In the distance, the Veil Nebula shimmered like fire, and the real threat waited in the shadows. The horizon's wrath drifted in silence beyond the Licca rift. Its lights dimmed, its engines quiet, but inside, the ship was alive with purpose. Captain Drake stared at the new coordinates the Zervok defector had given them. The Veil Nebula lay far beyond normal patrol routes, deep, dangerous, mostly unexplored. And at its edge, according to the defector, was the Mind Lord's core weapon. Lieutenant Collins tapped the star chart. "We'll need a backdoor approach. If we jump in from open space, they'll see us coming. We'll need to cut through the Creel Dust Passage. Risky, but it gets us close," she said. Frank Dalton ran a systems check. "We'll need power rerouted for stealth. We can't go in blasting." "Not yet. They'll expect noise. We'll give them quiet. And then we'll strike," he said. Drake looked at the crew. "We're not just chasing ships anymore. We're hunting the thing that commands them. This is where the war shifts. Are we ready?" He asked. "Always," Ryan said with a nod. They moved through the Creel Passage like shadows. Dust swirled against the hull. Ancient signals pulsed from dead satellites. Inside the Wrath, the crew stayed focused. They spoke in quiet tones, eyes locked on data, hearts pounding. As they neared the nebula's edge, sensors picked up Zervok chatter, encrypted, fast, panicked. "They're arguing. They're afraid of something," Lena said from the station. "They know we're close. Or they know their time's running out," Drake said. The ship halted behind a massive asteroid. Just beyond it, a Zervok refueling station floated, guarded by 4 cruisers. But something was off. "Look at that. They've docked in tight. They're not patrolling. They're defending. They're scared," Collins said. "They've never acted like this before. Not in any engagement. Not even when they lost ships." "What changed?" Ryan asked. Drake looked at the defector, a young Zervok named Relk. He stood quietly, head low. "Not a prisoner now, but not trusted either. Zovrek has kept them fed on lies, told them they were untouchable. But when they saw your ship tear through their traps, when they saw our own run to you for help, it cracked something inside them. Now they don't know what to believe," Relk said. "Good. Doubt is the first step to fear. Let's make them feel it deeply," Drake said. The plan was fast and brutal. Dalton launched a trio of decoy pods, fake signals, fake heat, designed to mimic multiple human warships. The Zervok sensors lit up. They scrambled. Their cruisers separated from the station, leaving it exposed. "Now, hit the fuel core," Drake ordered. 1 precision railgun shot. No explosion, just sudden collapse. The station folded inward like a dying star. No fire, no screams, just silence. Then the Zervok cruisers realized they had been tricked. But it was too late. The Wrath cloaked again and vanished into the asteroid field. That's 3 more ships off balance and a supply station gone. They'll feel that. Ryan said, "More than that, they'll start to whisper, to question, to wonder if the Mind Lord is not what he claims." Lena added. Relk nodded slowly. "You don't understand how much that matters. We were taught to never fear, to obey. But doubt spreads like fire among my kind, and you've lit the match," he said. Drake stood on the bridge, eyes on the star map. "Relay this data to Earth. Let them know we're closer than ever. And tell Admiral Trent that the Zervok are not invincible." "Not anymore," he said. Back on Earth, the news spread across command centers and cities. 1 warship, 1 crew holding back an empire. People lit candles in windows. They painted stars on walls. They began to believe. Admiral Trent stood before a room of officers. "The Zervok have learned fear, and fear changes everything. We are not alone in this fight. We have the Wrath, we have hope, and now we press forward," he said. In the cold black of space, the horizon's Wrath turned toward the final waypoint, where the Mind Lord waited, where the galaxy's fate would be decided. They had come far, fought hard, and now they were ready to face the heart of the storm. The Tarsai's Gate was more than a fortress. It was the last Zervok stronghold before Earth's outer defense line, a ring of black steel and plasma turrets, wrapped around a dying red star. It guarded the main corridor that led straight to Earth's colonies. If the Zervok lost it, they would lose their chance to strike at humanity, and they knew it. The Horizon's Wrath dropped out of slipspace near a shattered moon. Debris floated around the ship like frozen bones. Captain Ethan Drake stood in front of the war table, calm but alert. We've confirmed the target. Tarsis Gate is operational. 3 command ships, dozens of cruisers. We count at least 4 planetary-class defense cannons. Collins reported. Ryan scanned the data. It's suicide if we go in straight, even with our speed. They'll slice us apart before we get within range, he said. Drake looked at the glowing red eye on the map. Then we don't go in straight. We give them a story, one they'll believe. One that makes them act stupid, he said. He explained the plan. They would split the ship's signal into 3 fake warp trails. Each would lead to a different approach corridor. They would also launch drone ships to mimic full-size human warcraft. We make them think we're desperate, that we've called in reinforcements. They'll overreact, try to hold the gate with everything, and when they do, we slip in through their blind side, Drake said. Dalton worked non-stop to reprogram the drones. Lena fed false communication chatter into Zervok listening posts. Collins plotted the infiltration route through an unstable magnetic trench under the star's corona. It'll shake the ship apart, but if we can hold it together for 5 minutes, we'll come up right behind the main control core, she said. Drake nodded. Get us through that trench. We'll handle the rest, he said. The plan began at 0-100. 3 drones jumped out. Warp trails blazed across Zervok sensors. The enemy reacted fast. They moved half their fleet to intercept shadows, exactly as planned. The Wrath entered the trench. The ship rattled, lights flickered. Heat alarms blinked red, but the crew stayed calm, focused. Hull temperature rising, internal strain holding at 92%. 3 more minutes, Dalton reported. Plasma currents rolled like storms outside the hull. The red sun pulsed with angry light, then clear space. They rose behind Tarsis Gate. A perfect view of the control tower. Target locked, firing torpedoes, Collins said. 2 torpedoes streaked across the void. One hit the control tower. The other shattered a coolant array. Power flickered across the gate. Zervok ships turned in. Panic, but it was too late. The Wrath surged forward, cannons blazing. They hit the hangars first, then shield nodes. Then engines. Inside the gate, chaos spread. Zervok officers shouted over failing comms. Crew abandoned posts. Some tried to escape. Others surrendered without firing. Ryan scanned transmissions. They're requesting help from the Mind Lord, but he's not responding. He's pulling back. He's cutting them off, he said. Good. Let them feel abandoned. Let them break from the inside. Drake said. A Zervok command ship tried to ram the Wrath, but Collins fired a rail slug directly into its bridge. It cracked apart and vanished into the star's glow. Within 20 minutes, Tarsis Gate was in human hands. Drake stepped onto the enemy control deck. It was silent now. Smoke drifted through the air. Zervok officers knelt with heads down. You can run, you can fight, but Earth will always stand. You wanted to test us. Now you've seen what we are. We hold the line, and we don't let monsters pass, he said. They broadcast the surrender message. Across the sector, Zervok ships across the front received it. Some fled, some shut down weapons. A few turned against their own. Relk stood beside Lena on the bridge. He watched the transmissions, his face unreadable. It's over for the gate. And it's starting to be over for him, he said. Drake looked at the map. Only one marker left now, the Veil Nebula, where the Mind Lord Zovrek waited. We end it there, one last fight. For Earth, for all of us, Drake said. And the ship turned toward the fire beyond the stars. The Veil Nebula was not a place where light belonged. Stars flickered like dying candles. Radiation storms painted the void with colors never seen by human eyes. At its edge, hidden deep within the shadows, floated the Zervok command world, a black sphere surrounded by jagged towers, and above it, the Mind Lord's flagship, a dreadnought so large it looked like a small moon. Inside the Horizon's Wrath, silence ruled. The crew had been through fire and fury, but this was different. This was the end. Captain Ethan Drake stood alone in his ready room. He looked at a simple item on the table. A metal coin. One side held the Earth insignia. The other, the name of every colony lost to the Zervok. He turned it once, twice, then tucked it into his pocket. Captain. The dreadnought is in position. Sensors detect over 50 weapon banks. No other ships nearby. They want us to come alone, Collins reported over comms. They're overconfident. Let's use that. Power up jump nodes, final strike, all or nothing. Drake replied. The Horizon's wrath leapt from the edge of the nebula, straight toward the beast in the dark. Alarms lit up immediately. Zervok cannons powered on. But the wrath had already moved. Dalton rerouted energy from shields to thrusters. The ship danced, dodging plasma lances, circling the dreadnought like a wasp. Striking hard, one enemy turret exploded. Then another. Smoke filled the Zervok sky. Boarding. Route available. We can cut through their ventral hangar. But it won't stay open for long, Ryan said. Drake stood. Get me a team. This ends now. I'm going in, he said. The boarding shuttle launched, 5 crew with him. Ryan, Collins, Dalton. Lena. And Relk, each ready for war, each carrying more than weapons. They carried memories, pain, hope. They breached the hangar and fought their way inside. Zervok guards fell quickly. Relk guided them through. He knew the pans the others didn't. This way, up 2 levels. Then left to the core bridge, he said. They passed chambers of strange machines. Rooms filled with stasis tanks holding other species. Trapped, preserved, broken, Lena whispered. He's been collecting trophies, living trophies. We're not dealing with a general. We're facing something much worse, she said. They reached the central corridor. 2 guards stood in front of the door. Ryan fired. Both went down. Drake stepped forward and the door hissed open. Inside stood Zovrek, tall, thin, armored in black scaled metal, eyes glowing blue. He turned slowly, calm, unbothered. Human, you've come to kneel, to beg for your world. I accept, Zovrek said. Drake didn't blink. We've come to end this, and if you thought we'd beg, you don't understand us at all, he said. Zovrek stepped forward, his voice echoing. I have ruled for 5 centuries. I crushed 12 species before you learned spaceflight. You are insects. You burn bright but short. Why do you resist the truth? Drake's voice was cold. Because you think power makes you right, but it doesn't. It only makes you blind. We fight not because we're stronger, but because we remember what it means to protect. To hold the line. You fight for fear. We fight for home, he said. Zovrek's glow pulsed brighter. Then die for it, he said. Energy sparked in the chamber. Weapons lifted. But Lena activated a neural scrambler. Zovrek staggered. Dalton fired a shock charge into the command pillar. The room went dark. Drake rushed forward. He didn't kill Zovrek. Instead, he pulled the ancient leader to his knees. You will live. And you will watch your empire fall. And when the stars forget your name, that will be your punishment, he said. Collins secured the data core. Relk opened the shipwide comms. This is over. The Mind Lord has fallen. You do not have to die for his madness. Stand down. You are free, he said. Silence at first. Then Zervok voices answered, one by one. They dropped weapons. Some cried, some shouted, but none resisted as they returned to the wrath. Drake looked back once, at the massive dreadnought now quiet and cold. It's done. Let's go home, he said. And in the deepest corner of the galaxy, where fear had ruled, hope took its first breath. The Horizon's wrath returned to human space like a legend emerging from myth. Its hull was scorched, its engines tired, but it moved with quiet pride. News of the Mind Lord's fall traveled faster than light, across colonies and stations, across cities and deep space mines. The message was clear. The Zervok had been stopped for the first time in generations. The stars felt safe. Captain Ethan Drake stood alone at the viewport. He watched Earth grow larger through the glass, oceans blue, clouds white home, but even. As peace began to settle, his mind didn't rest. Lieutenant Collins approached. Incoming message from Admiral Trent. He wants to see you and the senior crew, ceremony, recognition, and announcements, she said. Drake sighed. I liked it better when the only thing waiting for us was another warship. But fine, tell him we're coming, he said. They docked at the orbital base above Earth. Hundreds lined the observation deck, civilians. Officers, families, all waiting to glimpse the ship that had held the line. As Drake and his crew stepped out, applause erupted, cameras flashed. But he didn't wave, he just nodded, eyes scanning the crowd. Among them stood a young girl holding a sign. Thank you for saving my brother on Titan. Drake stopped for a second and smiled, just a little in the command hall. Admiral Trent stood tall. He saluted. You did more than anyone thought possible. One ship, one crew. You changed everything. We were preparing for defeat, and instead, we saw a turning point. You gave us a future, all of you. Thank you, he said. Ryan stepped forward. With respect, sir, we didn't win because we had the best ship. We won because we refused to lose. That's what makes us human. We don't break. Not when it matters, he said. The ceremony continued, medals awarded, new orders handed out. But for the crew of the Wrath, the greatest honor was not a medal. It was seeing peace take root where war once stood. Relk stood quietly at the back, a Zervok in a human hall. No one clapped for him. But Drake turned to him and nodded, and that was enough. Later, Drake returned to the ship. He walked its corridors alone, each burn mark, each scar on the wall, told a story. In the war room, he found Collins. It's strange, the silence. Like we've been running so long we forgot how to stand still. She said, we didn't forget. We just never had the chance. Now we do. Let's not waste it. Drake replied. Dalton entered, grease on his hands. I'm not retiring. I just got this baby running right. You think I'm handing her over to some rookie? He said. They laughed for the first time in days. Real laughter, not relief. Not nervousness, just laughter. As the stars rolled above them, the ship rested, and so did its crew. Across the galaxy, other species began to speak. Some who had once feared Earth now reached out in peace. Others who had lost hope now looked to humans as proof that defiance mattered. In the ruins of the Zervok Empire, freedom began to grow, not quickly, not easily, but it began, and in every corner of space, a story spread. Of one warship, one crew, that stood against the tide. The story said that when the skies darkened, when worlds fell, when all hope vanished, a single human ship appeared. And it did not run, it did not bow, it fought, and it held the line, and that made all the difference. Captain Drake stood once more at the viewport. Stars stretched out in all directions. Peace was not forever, trouble would come again, but Earth was ready now because the Wrath had shown them how to fight. He reached into his pocket, flipped the coin. Heads Earth, tails the lost. He caught it, held it tight, and whispered to himself, let them come, we'll always be ready.